Hey, good morning. So I wanted to stop in, and I know it's been a little bit. Sometimes we need to just take some time away, right? And reflect. I'm really a big advocate for taking some time to pull away and kind of do some reflections. Um, I journal and just kind of, see how I feel I'm doing, so to speak. I take notes and, look at my days and reflect on some things that I did well, you know, and some things that maybe I could improve on. And I think it's been pretty good. I happy to say that I'm pretty grateful for my life, even when it's challenging, right? So today I'm just going to talk a little bit before leaving the work about um, taking control of your life. Well, I'll just speak for me, taking control of my life and what that looks like. Because making that statement sometimes seems like this huge event that needs to take place. But when I make the statement about taking control of my life, what that looks like to me is being mindful of choices I make. And I'm not just talking about the big things, like if one of my children comes to me with a problem, whether or not I give them an answer by fixing it or giving them steps to take to do it. I'm talking about minor things like when I wake up in the morning, how I get out of the bed. Um, how I get out of the bed sometimes impacts the rest of my day. It may seem silly or not realistic, but for me, it is. So, making the choices that will help me take control of my life starts the moment I decide to get up out of that bed. Where's my mind at? What am I thinking about? How am I going to take charge of my day and continue to sustain this happiness that I proclaim I have all the time? So one of the things that I do, and not all the time because goodness knows I'm human, but take a moment before letting my feet touch the floor and just give thanks for the life that I have. Give thanks for the body, even when it's aching that I have. I take a moment and kind of visualize the day that I want. So for me, I'm a teacher. I have over 20 students in my class, and I teach them multiple different skill sets as it relates to the medical field. And so I do this thing where I'm visualizing me literally working with students. Literally, whether I'm teaching them how to draw blood or teaching them how to help a patient get from an exam table into a wheelchair. I literally take some time and visualize that, and I see myself being successful in it. And what this has done for me, I didn't do it all the time, but a few years back, I began to kind of lean on, um, some different strategies that could help me make it a better day. So what it does for me is it literally helps me to focus on that. I mean, legit beginning with the end in mind. So I know that my day, my work responsibility is to teach the students. So I just basically visualize me doing that and doing that in a way that I'm honing in on each individual student and just really giving them my undivided attention as much as possible. Um, it is almost impossible to, completely hone in on each individual in every moment that you have them in class. And I get that. But what's most important to me when I get up is that I'm doing my best, that I'm giving my best, that I don't beat myself up throughout the entire day about things that are out of my control. Granted, this is a challenge many times, but it is still a goal that I seek each day. So that's one part of, some things that I do. Another thing that I do is I take a moment. I call it, and I think I've heard it somewhere. I'm not sure, but a moment to take pause. So let's say I'm about to go into a grocery store or any kind of store, department store, whatever. I take a moment in my car and I turn off the music. I turn off whatever it is, because I listen to audiobooks, and I take a moment of pause to remind myself what my goal is when I go into that place. Um, and again, another thing, it might seem corny or silly or whatever, but for me, what it does is it gives me a sense of peace. Um, you know, it helps me to know that I have a sole purpose in going to do a thing. There's a goal in mind. I'm going in to pick up an item. I'm going in to look for an item that I'm not quite sure about. Whatever the case is, I sit with myself a little bit, and it helps to calm me some. As I've mentioned in other videos, a part of who I am is I am a woman who um, is being challenged with anxiety diagnosis. And the challenge isn't as great as it used to be. I'm grateful for that. But so having anxiety, lots of times, what that means for me is there's some overwhelming um, feelings that are overtake me. Sometimes at random times, at least that's what I believe it is. And I'm sitting still, and sometimes there's just the heart pounding and the worry starts to kind of creep in. Oh my goodness, am I going to get it right? Is it going to be, am I going to get in and out? Am I going to meet people and they not approve, or things like that will have started to go through my mind at different times. And like I said, so what I've become, I think, pretty much successful at is taking that moment to pause and remind myself of my importance in this world, my importance in the car that I'm in, my importance in walking in a store, my impact that I may have on different people. I remind myself that I walk in purpose. I don't just gallivant around the world with no kind of destined intent. But I am a woman of purpose, and I remind myself of that, so that any of the actions I take, there's something behind it that is purposeful. Um, I think it is so important, at least for me, to calm my anxiety at times by simply sitting in a moment that I have. Sitting in a moment like now, for example, prior to me turning the video on, I took a moment and I thought about, okay, so what is it that I'm going to speak on? And my long-standing goal daily, and I believe this wholeheartedly, is I impact lives. So I made that decision years ago. So that is like ultimately it. Every day I wake up, my goal is to impact lives. Regardless of whatever other goals that I have, I impact lives. And the way that I do that, the way that I know that I do that, is I start with my own. And it is a very impactful, powerful thing for me to take the time to just kind of like be grateful for what I have, to kind of look back on where I've come from, and also look forward and where I know I have to go, because again, I'm a woman of purpose, and when you're walking in purpose, it gives you this push, or it gives me this push, this motivation that may not have necessarily been so strong before in my life, and I'm grateful for that. So for me, getting back to the topic that I mentioned at the start, taking control of your life, taking control of my life What that looks like to me is remembering all those purposeful things that I decided long time ago and reminding myself that it doesn't have to be some extreme long event or long and drawn out plan. It is as simple as taking a moment to pause and embracing the day that I was created to be in and to have power over, at least as it relates to my own life, because that's what I can control. So I hope that someone, anyone, everyone I would love that has listened to this video this morning will take some of the information, all of the information, and apply it to your own life and remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself that you have a purpose far greater than any challenge that you may be faced with, because it's true. At least that's what I believe. And remember, shine your life now.